I'm from Reclaim. My name's Nia Mack. I first got involved with Reclaim when I was actually 11 years old as a young person. I've always found it a bit strange that young people are involved in conversations regarding themselves or the issues surrounding them. They're often ignored and pushed aside. The voices aren't heard. We found that young people want to be respected. They want to be supported. They want to be listened to. Got mentioned a lot is that they want to be involved in conversation. My message to you guys sort of today as professionals is please get young people involved in conversations. If you're doing a project with young people, consult young people on that project. If you're looking at tackling issues for young people, consult young people in them conversations. Young people are willing to talk.
So West End Women and Girls Centre has provided services since 1981. We're the first girls' club in the city and the only open access youth and community centre based in Newcastle. So when I was 14, I started attending the youth group at the centre, initially because we got to go on free trips in summer. All of us at the time were in control in relationships, and we youth workers recognised that. She started doing work around domestic abuse and coercive control, and before long the penny dropped. We're shocked that nobody was talking about relationships, and we're passionate to change that. So I trained as a domestic abuse PR educator, raising awareness for women and girls in whatever setting they were at. We went into schools, youth groups, colleges, and they continue to tell her that they were being discriminated against in every area of their lives.
I personally got involved with the centre at the beginning of 2020. It was when Rochelle and Laura actually came into my college to do an assembly, spreading awareness on gender inequality issues. And I immediately knew I wanted to be involved with the centre.
The first campaign we launched at the centre was Misogyny is a Hate Crime. This was brought about after the ex-councillor of Elsick, Dipu Ahad, was convicted of stalking a woman from the local community. The gender equality peer educators and I were all furious that this happened and decided it was finally time to take a stand against misogyny within the area. Our campaign ended up gaining so much traction and positive support that it was even published in an article for the Chronicle News.
I got involved in the National Ambassador Programme back in 2014. As a young resident, not understanding the world of housing, it was a great programme to give me a sense of direction of where I wanted to go and what support I actually needed and the change I could create for the young people going on to the programmes in the future.
Allowing young people to lead and run and develop programs, which I think is something that a lot of people here have done or have experienced or have facilitated, is really important, because I think it gives a sense of belonging and it gives them control, which is allowing youth, like a youth-led approach.
And through our youth social action programs, we've managed to engage lots of different young people from all over the country, from Newcastle all the way down to Plymouth.
By not involving young people and by not listening, we're actually showing a lack of respect. So how do we collectively meaningfully build relationship with young people, respect them as equal partners, compensate them in terms of their involvement and participation with us, to address the issues they know better than we do. So these are my first sort of personal reflection, thinking that over 15 years of involvement, we're still in the same space where we're having those similar conversations. So how do we move that on? And how do we make sure that organizations and funders work more collectively to have young people at the center? And again, we've had lots of really good examples about good practice. And I think people in the working groups, we had sort of reflections asking, how do we share that more widely so that people can actually follow that good practice from, the VRUs, the work that Liverpool Community Foundation have been doing, you know, some of the young people we've heard and their story about being involved as beneficiaries first, but then suddenly having actual jobs within the area that they've experienced personally. So that lived experience is crucial, because they could be the future employees of our organizations, and there could be future funders. You know, I think we're looking at that as well as an organization, embedding youth voice in terms of decision making. So we have a fantastic group of 12 young people, and Kane is one of them, and where we provided a platform, you know, to try and get that experience about ground making. But really the hope is that someone like Kane and others would want to become, you know, ground makers and make decisions about supporting the youth sector. And there's more to do on that journey. But I think that's the sort of, I guess, reflection. There's a lot more I think that's been addressed, and I think to me there's probably a lot more we need to discuss. I think there's been big topics, you know, around the root causes, and I think relationships and the power of relationships, and how to make sure we invest in that. Inequality, structural racism, how do we address that? But that can't be done alone, and I think we have a responsibility to act collectively.
All these organizations can come and show that they care for young people, whereas years ago I was that young person out on the street carrying a knife, or I was on the street running from boys with a knife and not knowing there's help out there. So yeah, there's a bit about me, but overall this meeting has been powerful. Everyone here is here for a reason, and they all, you know, want to make change, and they care about young people, and they want to involve young people even more and hear their voices and make their voices be heard and put their voices into action to make change for the future.
This pretty much wraps up our event today. How can we collaborate together? How can we work more together? So that's something I think each of us should think about, and hopefully we should stay in touch.